Hello, birdies. Okay. So, here's the thing, right? I know that I said parts 2 and 3 of 1Q84 would be coming out shortly. And that was, in fact, my intention until, work took over my life for a while. My day job got really crazy. There was a whole management shakeup, and the results were real bad. It was rough. It was really, really rough. And it just exhausted me to the point that I didn't read anything last year. Like anything. I didn't read a book last year. And that has only ever happened to me one other time, which was 11, 12 years ago, something like that. That I didn't read a book for a long time. Okay. Yes. You may notice we are somewhere else, and that is because after another year at my previous employer, they did a thing that Japan does a lot, which is decline to renew your contract, which is a really shitty thing to have happen and to do. Most foreigners where I am are here on term limited contracts, meaning we had contracts that are 1 year long. And at the end of that 1 year contract, your employer can either renew it or not. And there's really no rules for not renewing it. Like, they don't need to give a reason to not renew. Hilariously, they did give me a reason, and it was an illegal reason. So, like, you don't need a reason, but the reason that they gave was that I took too many absences, but I didn't. And it's like, I still had 5 days of paid leave left when they told me this, and I was like, what are you talking about? And in case you think I was out, like, this was like one-off days over the course of 12 months to go see different doctors and see dentists, and like, it's been a mess. So they told us so out of 7 people on term limited contracts at this place, they told 4 of us on February 2nd that we weren't being renewed, so our contracts would end on March 31st. Our career area of specialty, hiring season is approximately October till January. September, sometimes August to January. So, but mostly over by the end of January. So for them to tell us on February 2nd was extremely shitty. And they told 4 out of 7. So 4 out of 7 people were out of a job. And because we weren't technically fired, we were non-renewed, we couldn't collect unemployment, which is super, super bullshit. And something that Japan really needs to... A lot of unions are working on right now. I'm a union organizer, by the way. I don't know if I've ever said that. I'm a union organizer. Yeah, so it was real shitty. The good news is I ran around like a chicken with my head cut off, and I found a new job, and it is back in Tokyo, which is where I am now. I got to come home. I spent 2 years in Ibaraki, and it was not cool. So I'm glad to be here. My apartment is tiny, but I actually do have 2 rooms. It's just that the other room needs furniture put together before I can use it. So I'm in the main room, which is why my fridge is there. But yeah, my new job, I am actually required to read books. There's so many books. I have a work Kindle. Like, they sent me an email and they were like, can you come in before your contract starts on April 1st? Because we have to give you your work Kindle. And I was like, my Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Um, so I have a work Kindle, and since they gave me the work Kindle last week, I've read 3 books. So one of them was a full reread. One of them I reread The Giver in like a couple of hours, and I hate it exactly as much as I did the first time I read it when I was 8. I finished, I don't know how to say it. It's Toni Morrison's only short story. I want to say it's recitative or it's a musical term. Me and music, I love to listen to music. I'm a big fan of musicals, but I am bad at music, so I don't know how to say it. But that was a fascinating read. And then I just finished reading Flowers for Algernon, Algernon? I always said Algernon, and then my colleague said Algernon, and I was like, how do you say the name? Anyway, finished reading it, ableist as hell. Love a book that tries to be, like, its whole message is, the message of the book is don't be mean to disabled people, basically, but it does that by being really mean to disabled people, so I'm not sure that it really accomplished what it was aiming for, I think, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought I was really gonna hate it, and it was okay. It was alright. Keep in mind, I don't know if I was homeschooled, so there's a lot of like high school, junior high school required reading books that I never read because I was homeschooled, and basically I only read what I wanted to read, which was everything except Newbery Award winners, because I read The Giver and in 1993, The Giver won a Newbery Award medal, even though I think it's a shit book. I think it's always been a shit book, and the fact that it didn't have a sequel out for over a decade tells me that Lowry originally intended to just leave it as it was, which is like bad. So, alright. But I read that book and I went, wait a minute. All the Newbery Award winners have death in common. People die in these books. I don't character death, not really into it, not really my thing. So so I didn't read Newbery Award medals for a long time, because there was a huge period in the 90s where it was basically a flag of major character death in some respect, or like edgy, because that was kind of when middle grade fiction was becoming a thing, YA was becoming a thing, but like YA dystopia was kind of not there yet. Yeah, so The Giver, no. And no, I will not be reading the sequels. Lois Lowry, sorry, no, not giving you a minute more of my time. And now I am reading The Road, which I actually own. I have my bookshelves here. I own The Road, and I just have never gotten around to reading The Road, so it's really nice to be reading The Road. I like the vibe so far. It's refreshing. It's new. Yes. Somebody here, the other update is that my buddy here, Kevin, is quite sick. It started before we moved out to Tokyo. He started having breathing problems, and it was kind of unclear what was wrong, because at the time he didn't have an infection, he didn't have like an overgrowth of yeast or anything. Like, most birds have a natural yeast in their croup where they partially digest their food, and when he was a little bit younger, he had a couple episodes of overgrowth of yeast, which was kind of his own fault. He has a favorite toy, his bell, and he likes to feed his bell, and by feeding his bell, he vomits onto his bell the way he would vomit to a partner bird. But he was also eating it back off of the bell, which was like, no. But when I took it away from him, he was really sad because he really likes it. So we had a balancing act to go through. But right now, he actually has pneumonia, which is not great. He is on medicine. he's doing much better. Like, he got meds on Saturday, and he's already showing a lot of improvement. So I'm very hopeful that, he's gonna get through it, hopefully. But yeah, I don't want this channel to be abandoned. It's not. I'm still working on stuff. I still have the script for 1Q84. I just haven't had the time or the emotional energy to put into recording and editing. My editing computer is broken. The DC port is broken. So most things I can fix. Like, I could clean out the fans and reset the heatsink. That, like, putting on new thermal paste and that was fine. That's easy. It's not hard. If you know what you're looking at, it's not hard to do. So I did that, and it got a little better, and then it went. So just a little, like, troubleshooting, and I was like, oh, it's the DC port, which sucks, because to fix that you need to do soldering. I don't have a soldering iron. And my experience with soldering is very limited. I mostly did it for jewelry, and it wasn't very exact, so it's not great for me to be doing that by myself, so I need to send it. But the last quote I got to do that was 35,000 yen, and I haven't quite felt like I have $350 to have someone resolder the port. I bought the port. I have the port. I have the new one. It costs like $30 on Amazon. Like, I have the port. I just need someone to solder it. And they want to charge me $350 to solder it. I just feel like that's a little extreme. Some shopping around. I can technically edit on my PC. It's just, on my desktop, it's just extremely slow. The whole point of the editing laptop is that it's fast. So, yeah, that's where we're at. So I guess the final update is that I am back in Tokyo, which is great. I'm very excited to start my new job because I will be a literature teacher for junior high school and high school students, and that's going to be really exciting for me. And I already have a lot of ideas that people are excited about, and it's nice to be walking into an environment where people are already, like, chomping at the bit to have me in there doing stuff, instead of, like, mad that people have experience and suggestions and things to bring to the table, which is how my entire year went last year. So someone was anyway, I thought it was an earthquake for a second. I was like, oh, someone's just banging on the wall. This channel's not abandoned. I'm going to be doing reviews of the books that I've been reading for school, because honestly, there's some good stuff in there. I'm really enjoying The Road, but I'm also really still hating The Giver. So you might get a video pretty soon of why I hate The Giver. Potentially, I didn't hate Flowers for Algernon. I just felt that the messaging of it got a bit murky. I don't know. I don't know. I'll just start my feelings on that. But yes, this channel's not dead. I'm still working on things. I just didn't read last year because I was not emotionally present last year. And this year, I will be. So, yeah. Me and Kev will be back as soon as we can be. And we're gonna have a good time. And uploads will hopefully be not a year apart. I will finish the 1Q84 reviews. It's about, like, it hasn't even gotten buck wild yet, which is crazy, but yeah. So yes, that's the channel update. Working on things. getting my life resettled. Thank you so much, everyone who's subscribed so far and watched so far. One of my Blood Jewels books reviews actually broke, I think it broke 500 views, which was insane. See if I can find it. Anyway, it broke a lot of views, and I was happy to see that. Yeah. So, we're coming back. Work Kindle. Work Kindle is here. My Kindle is up there. They're separate, obviously, because the library loaded this with books. But, like, this is so cool. I just gotta show you how many books we're looking at here. So if I scroll to the top. Oops. I just did things. I don't know what I just did. So many books. A bunch of them I've already read. I like it. I've read The Wind Singer. I've read The Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. I've read The Things That Carried. Like, there's so much good stuff in here. The Graveyard Book. There's so much good stuff. It's gonna be so exciting. Slaughterhouse 5, obviously, I've read. It was so good. Tennessee Williams, Streetcar Named Desire. Yeah, no, it's pumped. I'm gonna be busy with books, and I'm excited to be busy with books. And it's a good thing to be excited by. So, yeah. I love you all. Kevin loves you all. Hopefully we will be back ASAP to getting things on track now that my life has gotten back on track. Bye, birdies.